Hello there, my very good friends. Andy Murray here for WhatCulture Wrestling. In the wake of AEW Full Gear 2023, I really should have found a microphone that had an AEW logo on it. But hey, you work with the tools you have available. This is what went down. This is where we run through all the major developments from the show. It's not so much a review. I'm not going to go too in-depth on opinions and breakdowns and stuff like that because Simon Miller's here with ups and downs later on, and that's where you'll find that content. We're just going to run through all the major developments on the main card. And I should say, if you don't want this show spoiled, I mean, you probably shouldn't have clicked here already, but fair warning, we're going to spoil literally everything here. So, I'll give you a couple seconds to reconcile that, to do what you need to do. Okay, we good? We good to go? Let's do it. We're going to begin with something that kind of happened on the 0 Hour pre-show, but it did bleed over into the main card and it defined the whole night, so we have to talk about it. MJF and Samoa Joe successfully defended the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles against the Guns on the pre-show. Well, I guess technically it was only MJF successfully retaining them, but you know the story. Joe buggered off, and when Joe buggered off, the Guns destroyed MJF's leg. They Pillmanized him, they put him in an ambulance, he was getting loaded away, bundled up, taken to hospital, off you go, pal. Adam Cole is there, and while this is all playing out, MJF makes Adam Cole promise to not let Bullet Club Gold get his belt. Basically, don't let him take my title, Adam, etc., etc., etc. And that is the story of the night up to basically just before the main event. We'll talk about that later. How can MJF wrestle? He's going to hospital. How can Adam Cole wrestle? He's injured for like a year or something. It's all very dramatic. It's all very big. And we will explore this throughout the evening. Let's get into a match. The party match started things off. Adam Copeland, Darby Allin, and Edge. Nope, Sting. Look, I'm very tired. It's very early here. Versus the Patriarchy, they're called now. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. Babyface victory here with Luchasaurus eating, what did he eat? A spear and the coffin drop for the win. But the story here was Christian Cage avoiding the hell out of Adam Copeland. Copeland wanted to get his hands on his former best friend and tag team partner all match long. It looked like it was going to happen on a number of occasions, only for Christian to scamper out of the way, pull some heel tricks. And in the end, Christian literally ran away. He accidentally hit Luchasaurus in the head with the TNT title belt when he was trying to go for Copeland. And he decided that rather than stand and fight, he was just going to flee. So he did that. He ran out of the ring. He went over the barricade. He went through the crowd. He was nowhere to be seen as his mates lost. And that story rumbles on with him and Copeland. But yeah, another win for Sting and co on Sting's retirement tour. We then heard from Tony Schiavone and Bryce Remsburg. They were hanging out. They were trying to introduce Bullet Club Gold. Jay White came out. The announcement looked like it was going to be MJF is unfit to compete here tonight. So, hey, no world title match. Jay White, have a prize. Have an ill-gotten belt. But it was Adam Cole, of course, who stepped up. I mean, crutched up in his current state. The poor guy, he's in a lot of pain. And said, no, I'm going to fight for that belt. I'm going to wrestle Jay White somehow, which adds just another layer of drama or mystery or whatever to this whole thing, because it's like, how can you do that? Adam, you got a massive cast on. You just had surgery twice. Crazy situation. But that was what we got out of this. More as the night developed. Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley was next, International Championship, and the story here was Orange Cassidy trying to shake this boogeyman, I guess is the best word, off of his back in the shape of Jon Moxley. Of course, Moxley beat him for the International Championship at All Out. He then literally no-sold an Orange Punch and then kicked Orange in the face on this week's episode of Dynamite. So how do you beat a man who does that to you? You hit the Orange Punch about 9 times is what you do, pal. This was about babyface overcoming the odds. In a straightforward one-on-one setting, story-driven with what's happened between them two in the past. Very simple stuff, very classical style stuff. Kind of pro wrestling I really get into. Orange Cassidy comes away with the victory. He retains the International Championship with a beach break and, like I said, about 9 Orange Punches, because one just won't do against Jon Moxley and his big bleeding head. And there we go. After that, we heard from the announcers, who talked a little bit about the main event, and it was made official. Tony Khan has announced Jay White, Adam Cole, AEW World Title. Wow, what a thing to happen there. And speaking of things that happened, Mark Briscoe announced he was in the Continental Classic. So that's fun. Good for him. I like seeing Mark Briscoe on TV doing fun things. After that, what do we have? The Women's World Championship match. Toni Storm defeating Hikaru Shida to become a 3-time Women's World Champion in AEW in a match that was, I don't know, about 50-50 wrestling and timeless Toni gimmickry. So if you're kind of, obviously Toni's a great wrestler, if you're really into the gimmick as well, you probably love this. She won very amusingly by putting a little metal plate on her ass before hitting the hip attack, as if the hip attack doesn't look brutal enough as it is. After the bell, Mariah May came down with a bouquet of flowers for the leading lady. Everything was in black and white at this point. There you go, the timeless thing is really over, and she's a 3-time champion now, so good for her. That's cool. Eddie Kingston backstage next, announcing that he's going to be in the Continental Classic. He defended the Ring of Honor World title against Jay Lethal on the 0 Hour, by the way. But yeah, he's in the tournament. Not only that, but he's going to put the Ring of Honor World title and the New Japan Strong World title on the line in every match he has in that tournament, meaning that whoever wins it will become a Triple Crown champion because they'll also win the Continental belt. So, wow, big stuff there from Eddie. Maybe he can end up losing those straps unless he wins the tournament, which I would personally be in favour of. We'll see what happens. On to our next match. It was a 4-way ladder match. Of course, for the World Tag Team titles, Big Bill and Ricky Starks defeating FTR, Kings of the Black Throne, and La Facción Ingobernable to retain the belts. It was a crazy-ass match. They did some fun stuff with Big Bill and Brody King. Beef chants for that one. Dogs bark noise. That dog bark is really over. It's in LA as well, which is where Brody's from. So it's cool to hear that. But also, the finish on this one was Ricky successfully grabbing the belts from the top. Oh yeah, Dralistico got just gonzo bombed onto a ladder. Ouch, that looked like it hurt. But yeah, Ricky Starks took the belts down for the win. He almost lost. It was him and Dax on the ladder. Ricky almost fell, but Big Bill caught him, propped him back up. Cash then came up. Cash got clocked in the face with the belts as they were hanging there. Ricky took one, threw it down to Bill, took another for the successful retention. They have some new challengers that we'll talk about later in the video here. After that, TBS title, Chris Statlander losing the belt to Julia Hart in a 3-way match that also featured Sky Blue, who has some new ring entrance music and everything else. Threw her cap away as well. That's like $20. Why'd you do that? That's a waste of money. But yeah, the crowd were into this, particularly towards the end. Statlander was doing a bunch of fun Hossy power stuff, as she always does. And she looked to have Sky Blue beat. She hit the Saturday Night Fever after a bunch of gut-wrench suplexes. But that pesky Julia Hart, she broke the pin up, hit Statlander in the head, and stole the pin for herself. Beat Sky Blue there. She is champion at 22 years old, the youngest champion in AEW history, I believe, she said. That's cool. Good for her. That's awesome. And it continues her upward trajectory in 2023. Nice to see Julia Hart getting the belt. Moving onwards, big signing time. This was hyped up a lot coming into the show. Of course, Tony Khan saying that we got a big name. That's not what he said. I'm speaking rubbish. One of the best wrestlers in the world who is liked and respected and known by almost everyone in AEW. And it was who you thought it was going to be. It was the name Andrew Zarian reported on the day of the show. Will Ospreay. Came down, nice big pop. Basically, he told the crowd he was very earnest. He said, look, I'm not going to be around straight away. I've got some business to wrap up in New Japan first. Of course, his contract there expires in February. But I will be here on the road to Revolution, and I'm all elite. Signed his deal. Tony Schiavone was there. He said bruv about 12 times. Good stuff. Look, the only people who can say this doesn't fit the billing are going to be the bad faith actors who will tell you that anyone apart from John Cena is just going to confuse the mythical casual fan who seemingly turns into a puddle of goop whenever things aren't painted in the broadest of strokes. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. If you watch AEW, you know who he is. It fits the bill 100%. I'm very happy to see Will Ospreay. I'm very excited to see what he looks like as a weekly American TV wrestler. And this is a coup as well, because WWE wanted to try and get hold of Big Bill. No, they've already got a Big Bill. Will Ospreay. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Speaking of pretty cool, I mean, it depends on your tolerance for blood, I guess. Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page. Nothing less than one of the bloodiest, most insane, most crazy, most violent matches in AEW history. This Texas Death Match was completely unhinged. Me, personally, I absolutely adored it. You might not, depending on your taste for these kind of things. But let us know in the comment section below. But for me, the best thing on the show, I won't go into too many of the big spots and stuff here. But there was a lot. There was glass, there was interferences, there was tables, there was Prince Nana going through a table, there was just all kinds of stuff. Hangman Page, like, opening his mouth under Swerve while he was bleeding so that blood went in his mouth like he was drinking out of a faucet. Completely unhinged. Swerve took the victory. He literally hung the Hangman outside the ring with a chain. Hangman couldn't answer the 10 count after that. Completely nuts. The biggest win of Swerve's AEW run so far. He is just tremendous. Hangman is as well, obviously. But it's nice to see Swerve on the ascendancy here in this company. 2 matches to go. And boy, were the crowd exhausted after the last match. But it was the Golden Jets versus the Young Bucks. Crowd was quite burned out early on, but they did warm back up to it as things were going on. The Young Bucks were being dicks throughout. They low-blowed all over the place, despite previously saying, hey, we'll do a sporting contest with Kenny. Lying buggers. But the Golden Jets picked up the victory, which means the Young Bucks lose their AEW World Tag Team title shot. Means the Golden Jets will now presumably face Big Bill and Ricky Starks at some point in the future. Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho making the challenge. Afterwards, the Young Bucks took a proper temper tantrum. I'm still a bit confused as to why Kenny Omega is being friends with Chris Jericho, who literally beat up the Young Bucks' dad not like a couple of years ago. That's a bit mean. But hey, there you go. That's the story they're running with. The Young Bucks going full heel now, you'd imagine. If they don't, that would be silly, but they're kind of already there. So, main event of the evening. Adam Cole versus Jay White for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, or was it? No, it wasn't, obviously. So Cole came down for the match, and obviously he's, his physical state at the moment. Jay White was just loving it. He was full of the joys of spring, gloating, I'm going to win this easily. So much so that he laid down in the ring, mockingly for Cole early on. But MJF came out, ambulance noise played, he made the big heroic entrance. A bunch of people tried to stop him, but he was like, no, I'm the babyface. I'm gonna fight everyone. He was limping heavily, he was selling the injury, he obviously was effectively fighting on one leg, and he still won. In about 30 minutes or so, there was lots of booking techniques and tricks and stuff used here. There was multiple interferences from the Guns. Cole was there the whole match, basically, as well. They were shooting for kind of an epic format with the added stuff of the knee being sold and I've completely lost my train of thought here. Going for the diamond ring, all of that stuff. So to wrap this one up, Jay White's going for the shot with the diamond ring. MJF low-blowed him. The Guns came down again after previously being sent away following a ref bump. They were taken out almost straight away. Jay White ended up eating a shot with the ring behind the referee's back, and that's how MJF retained. So he did technically cheat to win in around 30 minutes, but he's your scumbag, so I guess that fits the billing. Jay White loses the match. MJF successfully retains the AEW World Championship to close the show, celebrates with Adam Cole, and now presumably goes on to defend against Samoa Joe at some point in the future. But yes, a very controversial piece of main event booking. I'll have some more thoughts on that on this morning's news video, which will be with you in a couple of hours. But let us know what you thought down in the comment section below. Check out this video too, and I'll see you later.